Kevin DeLine of Marietta seemed to be doing everything right. He ran 3 times a week, he watched his eating, and he took care of himself.
But one August morning, DeLine collapsed at the end of his 6-mile run. Well, the Fox Medical Team's Ben Galvin is here now with his incredible story. Beth?
And Deidre and Tom, Kevin DeLine looks like the last person that you would expect to have a heart attack that would send him into cardiac arrest, but he did. And that's why he's telling his story.
It's right in front of that second mailbox, I think, right?
Kevin DeLine doesn't remember much about August 24th, the morning his heart stopped, but his wife Laura sure does.
He was laid right there. Christina was doing CPR. There was our friend CJ was helping.
The East Cobb 44-year-old father of 2 collapsed here in a neighbor's yard at the end of a 6-mile run when his heart suddenly faltered and then stopped.
It was chaotic. I mean, the whole neighborhood, I felt like, was here.
So he had full cardiac arrest in his neighborhood.
He was not doing well when I got to him. I just remember a swarm of people around me just holding me and praying with me.
I don't have no words for how lucky I feel.
Because DeLine, who had no heartbeat and wasn't breathing, was brought back to life by an EMS crew with an AED, taken to Wellstar Kennestone's emergency room.
I remember a lot of chaos over my head, things being hung above me, and someone saying, Kevin, are you with me? You've had a heart attack. And I just said, oh, God.
Wellstar interventional cardiologist Dr. Scott McKee and his team rushed DeLine into a cath lab.
He had a very high-grade blockage in the main artery of his heart called the left anterior descending, just as the artery started.
They call this kind of blockage the widowmaker because so few survive it.
The first step was relieving that immediate blockage, so we did put in a stent that day and open the artery up.
But DeLine was just 44, running up to 1,000 miles a year, coaching his son Hudson's and Grant's youth team. So why him?
It's something that can kind of really catch folks off guard because you really think you're healthy. It's kind of primal life, and you don't expect to have these issues maybe until you're 60 or 70.
The first time I passed out was up there because
Turns out DeLine had passed out on a run a few months earlier and had been experiencing chest pain at the beginning of his runs that he now knows was angina, a warning sign for a heart attack. He'd even gone in for a treadmill heart stress test.
The original doctor said, everything looks good. I probably should have listened to my body a little bit more and been a little bit more direct or forceful maybe with the doctor, say that something doesn't feel right.
Kevin DeLine had a combination of a plaque buildup in his arteries and factor V Leiden, a common genetic disorder that raised his risk of developing blood clots.
Grant.
But with cardiac rehab and the right medication, he is now healthy again and grateful he got a second chance.
Definitely trying to cherish every day a little bit more and enjoy the things I do, especially the time with the boys.
And here's something interesting. One of those neighbors, Christine, who pulled over her car and started CPR on Kevin, had just taken a CPR class a week earlier with the Girl Scouts where she got that training. And Kevin feels like he survived because of Christine and the other neighbors who stopped and gave him aid. And he's now running again, only he no longer runs alone. Tom and Deidre, yeah. He's running with a group of women from his neighborhood.
You hear this story and it's like he did everything right. He's in great health. He took a stress test. What do you do with an average person?
So I think that the moral of the story or the takeaway message really is go get your checkups. Go get, he did have a heart stress test. It did come back normal, but he also had these other factors that he had known about, that maybe should have been followed up on or looked more closely. Maybe he feels like he should have pushed a little harder. So it's push. If something doesn't feel right to you, go get it checked out.
Gotta listen to your body.
Have a cardiac arrest. Yeah.
All right, Beth, thanks.
Thank you, Beth.